Recently on Discord, I asked women with a radical feminist and lesbian lens, is there anything you wish radical feminists would talk about more, or you simply want to hear more about? I asked this because my well of video inspiration is drying up. Someone replied to me saying, I think I would like to hear more about things we can actually change as radical feminists. So much of radical feminism is depressing, and it feels like there's not a lot we can do. And I am going to talk about that, and likely not in the way this person thought or hoped, because I think so much of radical feminism is depressing, like she said. And it does seem, or it is true that there's not a lot we can do. What I have learned in the last 8 years that I have been a radical feminist is that it's about saving yourself. When it comes to collective action and change, I think those are pipe dreams. I think the time of collective action is gone, because we can't get radical feminists or women who call themselves radical feminists to agree on even the bare minimum of radical feminism. So how can we expect, hope, or rely on them to act collectively on really important matters? I know this sounds depressing, but in my own journey of the last 8 years, in reading, in discussing, in formulating my thoughts, in talking with other women, I really think radical feminism has to be about yourself, which sounds ironic or contradictory or like an oxymoron perhaps, but the emotional and spiritual journey has to be about freeing yourself from patriarchy and the society we live in, saving yourself from conditioning, from patriarchal thinking and acting, and dedicating yourself and your life to live a life free of men and patriarchy and conditioning. And only then can you maybe do something for other women. Only when you have let go of patriarchy and patriarchal conditioning and thinking can you perhaps be an example to others. I unfortunately really don't think that there's a lot we can change as radical feminists except for within ourselves individually. I have let go of the idea of a collective awakening or action because nothing has ever happened in the last 8 years that I've been a radical feminist. Not for a lack of trying, but for a lack of commitment or integrity or action. So, yeah, I think the things you can actually change are your own life. The way you interact with the world as a radical feminist who is free from her patriarchal conditioning, and constantly checking herself and letting go of patriarchal conditioning. Beauty culture, submissive culture, feminine conditioning, heteronormative conditioning, if you're a straight or bisexual woman. I think radical feminism ideologically is about the collective and women coming together for a common goal, but that's not the reality. It's just not. And that's hard to stomach, but it is true, unfortunately. I think I've said it before on my channel, but for what it's worth, a quote from Terry Strange has stuck with me since the first time I heard her say it on a live stream like years ago. She said, I think the really big problem with how some approach radical feminism is they think they're going to save other women. You're not. It's about saving yourself. It's about getting yourself out. You cannot do anything for other women if you're still trapped in the same cycles they are. I think that's a nice way to end this.